Hi guys, I am. I've had some difficulty recording and saving the recordings and uploading them for power outage issues going on right now. So what I'm going to do is record two different videos. One's going to be instructional, and one is going to be, advice on your lessons. So let's go to the advice on the lessons first. And for that, I need to screen share. I want to talk about how class is going to be organized now, what to do with your peer review, your post-final essay peer review. If you're listening closely, you heard me talk about you'll have one after final submission peer review that you do. So, and that's been automatically assigned to you. For that, I'm just asking you to write 1 to 2 paragraphs in the space provided by Canvas. So get that done, within the next few days, I would say, at least by the next class. So let's look at this guide to partners, teams, and pods. This isn't terribly important, but I think you should know how you're grouped. Partners consist of 2 people who gather to do peer reviews and one-on-one assignment assistance. You're already familiar with this. Teams are groups made up of 2 partnerships or 4 people established to facilitate work on projects like the writing of the collaborative paper on Butterfly Boy. Pods are made up of 2 teams or 8 people, primarily for the purpose of better discussion, livelier discussion for topics under consideration in class, including essays that we read, homework we're working on, etc. So you should know your pod color. I've grouped them by color: yellow, blue, and red, the primary colors. And then you have a team number that you belong to. And as I said, 2 teams to each pod, and then your partner's name. So you should know your pod color, your team number, and your partner's name. So for example, in the yellow pod, I have grouped 2 teams made up of 4 partnerships. And team 1 is made up of 2 partners or partnerships. So you see Althea or Thea, as she goes by, grouped with Taylor, and Francesca with Priscilla. So that's 2 partnerships and 1 team within the pod. And if you go down the list, you'll see that if you don't see your name in that particular pod, you might be in the red pod. Most of these partners have worked together, or they've exhibited an interest in working with whatever person, whomever is available. So go through here, find your partner, find your team, and find your pod, and the rest of the semester should be a little smoother for both of us in terms of knowing where to go when. You'll be assigned to the breakout rooms in this pattern, but we'll both know sort of who's in your pod, who's on your team, who's your partner, okay? So let's go to, and this is in announcements, so you may have already seen it. One recent announcement is that I had the difficulty with the videos. Again, I'm going to try to cut to the chase here and only work on certain sections, and then I'll load a second video, and I think it'll only require 2 videos. Work for Thursday today. Well, take an extra day if you need to, because this video is late. But you should have already seen your assignments. Watch the instructional video that'll be loaded here by 2 o'clock today. Read In the Name of Love. We were working on that. Respond under assignments. And for that, I'm looking for just 1 to 2 sentences for each question, except the last question, number 5. You find this in assignments. Question number 5, you need to write 1 paragraph. Read Butterfly Boy up to page 100 for next Thursday. And the team should be talking about outlining chapters and discussing this as we go along. So you can find your team now and start working on finding someone to facilitate your team or lead your team, or if the group as a whole can decide on how to divide chapters up. I think 1 paragraph per 10 pages ought to do it. So I would not write more than 1 page or 2 paragraphs per 10 pages. That's getting a little overzealous maybe, but try that. Then peer review 1 essay that's been auto-assigned to you in Canvas. This should be 1 to 2 paragraphs in the space provided, as I told you earlier. And I would like you to get that done by next Tuesday, my class. So if we go down here, let's look at your argumentative essay because we're now working on that. And let's look at the assignment for the argumentative essay. I would suggest that you work on the first page, get that maybe written by Tuesday of next week. I have extended the deadline for the argumentative essay. Currently it says November 10th. So I'm going to have your rough draft due on November 10th. You do need to do a rough draft for this paper. And then the following week will be your due date, November 17th, which puts us shortly before Thanksgiving. We hope you'll relax. So for the argumentative essay, in this exercise, you'll need to construct an argumentative essay about a social issue that is something that matters to a group of people. So it can be a healthcare matter, could be anything as simple as parking in Sacramento, education, any number of issues that has some social context and meaning and purpose. So select a topic you're passionate about. Don't select something that you think I'm passionate about. For one thing, I know all the ins and outs of what it is I'm interested in and what I support. And so if you don't cover the necessary things, then I can easily identify those. So choose something you are passionate about. Maybe we're passionate about the same thing. If that's so, then great, do it. But I try my hardest not to be biased. So if you have an opposite opinion of me, I try to welcome that, and I do welcome that. And you just need to use proper rationale, reason, logic, and use the form that has been given to you. So, and we'll talk about that in the instructional video. So choose a topic you're passionate about. There's a method to the argument essay that's unlike all others, so listen closely to the lectures on structure and form. Assemble your essay with a hook, background information, thesis, body paragraph. You're familiar with these already, many of these: topic sentences, main points, source material supporting topic sentences, which should include statistics, counter arguments and rebuttals, which we'll talk about in the instructional video quite a bit and in class, I hope. So don't forget to include a conclusion. We talked about the conclusion. Summarize the main points, restate the thesis, drive home your argument. Don't bring anything new into the conclusion. So you may choose any topic that you wish related to a social issue, as I said before, with certain exceptions. I would prefer not to read anything about religion, marijuana, death penalty, abortion, or gun control. And here's why. I've read so many essays on these particular topics, and I have an opinion about them. So, you know, not to say that if I have a different opinion from you, it's going to be a problem. But as I said again, if you choose the same thing, it makes it difficult for me to and for you to overcome the sort of obstacle of my breadth of knowledge in those areas. I'm not saying I'm particularly smart, but I'm fairly well read in these areas because I've read so many essays and I've heard so many criticisms and so much support. So avoid those and try to find something new or different. Have your paper peer reviewed at least by one other person. We probably will not do an in-class peer review, so I'm going to count on you to go to your partner to get your peer review done. And you can even use the peer review form from last time. However, some of the points will be a little different because an argumentative is different from a compare and contrast. So we will be looking for different things. You as a peer reviewer and myself as your instructor. So before submitting the final draft, do this before you submit the final draft. And after the final draft, you will be required to peer review again another essay or perhaps 2 essays this time. Adhere to the format proposed by me. Turn in the rough draft on time. Turn in the final draft on time as well. Have some flexibility given COVID, as you know. So talk with me if things are difficult. Please tell me what's going on. You should write 2 full paragraphs with the that's in the final peer review. Okay, so that you should do that. Right. It says 2 full paragraphs. I'm really looking for 1 to 2. Okay. Include genuine praise and thoughtful criticism. It's good advice for reviewers. All right, so I think that's enough for what's going on right now. There's nothing, I think, in the discussions area this time. It's all in your announcements and assignments. So go there, click on there, see what's new, and get the stuff done. And we'll see you on Tuesday. But remember to tune in again because we will have the instructional video coming up. And just be sure you've seen the instructional video by next Tuesday, by class time. Thanks. Hope you have a great weekend. Again, look for the instructional video. See you soon.